With the NFL regular season coming to a close, we're down to 14 teams capable of crowning themselves Super Bowl champions. Honestly, it's been a frustrating year to watch, with quarterback injuries mounting and scoring down. So instead of being all warm and fuzzy, I'm going to tell you one reason why every remaining NFL team won't win it all this year. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button, and if you're looking for more NFL playoffs content, subscribe to the channel. The Steelers are an atrocious 1-10 without TJ Watt, and they'll have to start the postseason without him. But that won't be the reason Pittsburgh doesn't get to the big game. Their defense has done a great job getting the ball back to their offense, ranking third in both fumbles forced and interceptions. This is about the offense, and more specifically, the play calling. Many believe this is a much improved unit with Mason Rudolph under center, but truly, it doesn't look much different. It's just the opponents that have made them look the part. Rudolph's average depth of target is 7.2 yards, ranking 45th amongst 49 qualified quarterbacks. Kenny Pickett ranks 40th, a few points better than the now starter. This offense will be routinely outcoached and out-schemed against the best of the best, keeping them from lifting the Lombardi Trophy. Quarterbacks making their first career playoff start against quarterbacks with playoff experience are 17-36 since 2002. But I think Jordan Love and his 30 touchdowns are the reason they're here now, not the reason they won't be here in February. Running backs are the theme here in the NFC. McCaffrey, Gibbs, Montgomery, Williams, and the Achilles heel for Joe Barry's defense, stopping the run. Green Bay's 128 rushing yards allowed per game is the most of any team in the postseason. The Super Bowl goes to the best team in the NFL every season, but it also goes to the luckiest. And by luckiest, I'm talking about injury luck. The Miami Dolphins have been anything but lucky to close out the season. They may be playing this postseason without their top 4 edge rushers, losing Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips for the season, and losing Andrew Van Ginkel and Cam Good in the finale. Not to mention, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert, and Xavier Howard haven't played in weeks. This season seems like it's going to end much like the last for Miami. Sean McVay's offense looks like one that's turned back the clock to the one we saw win a Super Bowl a few seasons ago. And you could argue it's even better now with a dynamic rushing attack led by Kyren Williams, who's averaging 5 yards per carry. Now, the defense has played well, but it seems to lack an identity. The secondary is missing that go-to guy that can match up with the opponent's number one option. It was on display in their loss to a team they could see in round 2, when CeeDee Lamb posted 12 receptions, 158 yards, and 2 touchdowns earlier this season. What a roller coaster of a year for the Cleveland Browns. Trading for and paying Deshaun Watson a monumental amount of money, all to find themselves being carried to the postseason by a soon-to-be 39-year-old Joe Flacco. As much as Flacco has helped them open up the offense, averaging 8 yards per attempt on just a 60% completion percentage, he's still the likely reason for their demise. In just 5 starts for the Browns, Flacco has thrown 8 interceptions, which is a pace that would lead the league by a substantial margin had he started the entire season. This Browns defense may be the best in the league, but overcoming losing the turnover battle against quarterbacks in the AFC like Stroud, Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar Jackson is going to be tough. After a 10-1 start to the season, I can suddenly find more than one reason why Philadelphia won't make it back to the Super Bowl. The defense sticks out, but I think there's one particular aspect that goes overlooked by most. Last season, the Eagles boasted potentially the best pass rush of all time, with 4 players posting double-digit sacks. It makes playing in the Eagles secondary quite a bit easier when quarterbacks don't have nearly as much time to operate. But this season, only Hassan Reddick eclipsed 10 sacks, and the Eagles ranked 24th in sack rate, posting 26 less sacks than they did a year ago. If Philadelphia wants to get back to the big game, it starts in the trenches. When the Houston Texans took down Joe Burrow and the Bengals on the road without Nico Collins, they proved their offense can compete with just about anyone. And with Bobby Slowick and DeMeco Ryans manning each side of the ball, they're as well coached as anyone too. The problem is, as much as Houston can throw a punch, they are not nearly as good at taking one. CJ Stroud has been perhaps the best deep ball passer in the league this season, but his defense has been giving it right back, allowing the most receptions of 20+ air yards, as well as the 5th highest completion percentage on these passes. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson were all top 10 in these attempts this season. And if Houston wants to make their first Super Bowl in franchise history, they'll have to best 2 of those guys. Year 1 after Tom Brady didn't go too bad for Tampa Bay. In fact, I'd argue this is a better team now than the one that was in the exact same spot a year ago. But a lot of those same issues from the 2022 team persist this season. Now, an elite running back is not a prerequisite for Super Bowl contention, but when Super Bowl champions are absent top of the league quarterback play, running backs like Marshawn Lynch, CJ Anderson, and LeGarrette Blount become playoff legends. The Buccaneers are sorely missing that with their rushing attack. Rachaad White is second in the NFL in carries this season, but he ranks 23rd in rushes of 10+ yards, and his 3.6 yards per carry is 56th. The Bucs won't be able to put any of their opponents away without a competent running game. Would it be crazy to say that the thing holding back Kansas City from going back-to-back is Taylor Swift's boyfriend? After 7 straight seasons, Kelce had his first sub-1,000 receiving yard season since 2015. And after 6 100+ yard games in 2022, the future Hall of Famer has just 2 this year. The Chiefs are giving
"They are who we thought they were"
vibes. A team that talent-wise is largely the same as the one that won it all a year ago, but now seems complacent, with maybe even things other than football on their minds. The Lions are back in the postseason, playing in front of their home crowd for the first time since 1993. With a top 5 scoring offense led by Ben Johnson, I think we all know what will keep this team from winning even their first playoff game in nearly 25 years. It's a pass defense that allowed Nick Mullins to throw for over 800 yards in 2 starts to close out the year. With a run defense that ranks as a top 3 unit, they actually present a really intriguing challenge to the Super Bowl favorites. But when you're the 3rd worst pass defense, it also means you can lose to just about anyone. The list of potential outcomes for the 2023-2024 Buffalo Bills is long. But despite having one of the most naturally talented quarterbacks in the NFL, it's the defense that I'm pretty confident won't let them down. Buffalo is 3rd in sack rate and ranks 7th in opponent EPA per pass. They're equipped to match up with the AFC's quarterback gauntlet. It's an offense that's one of the league's best that's most likely to let them down. Buffalo is not winning on the margins. It's why they've lost to teams like the Patriots and Broncos. A shell of his former self, Leonard Fournette, has emerged from the practice squad because the Bills can't trust James Cook to protect the football. Josh Allen may be responsible for a league-leading 44 touchdowns, but he's also responsible for 22 turnovers. The Bills can continue to march up and down the field on their opponents, but the little things are why Bills fans won't be invading Las Vegas in February. I think this quote from Mike McCarthy in the offseason is fitting when talking about why Dallas isn't fit to win it all. He said, "Kellen wants to light the scoreboard up, but I want to run the damn ball so I can rest my defense." When talking about letting former OC Kellen Moore go and installing himself as the play caller. Well, the 2023 regular season is over, and the Cowboys threw the ball 3.2 times more per game than last year's team did. And listen, I don't think Mike McCarthy is a hypocrite. He had to do this. But it also might be why this team can't make a run. The Cowboys have one of the worst rushing attacks in the postseason. Tony Pollard has unequivocally proven he is not capable of being an RB1. Dallas is one-dimensional offensively, and that makes the game planning much easier for their opponents. It's going to be hard to find a reason why the best team in the AFC that beat the Super Bowl favorites won't win the Lombardi Trophy, especially when the offense has the league MVP and the defense led the league in sacks, turnovers, and points per game allowed. But let's see if we can stretch out and find something bad to say about this team. And with how complete they are, the Lamar Jackson playoff narrative might be my biggest gripe. The Ravens QB is 1-3 in his postseason career, losing by an average of 12 points per game. And I think it explains a lot. If you remember, Lamar Jackson is an absurd 20-1 against the NFC. When teams have 7 days to prepare in the middle of a 17-game regular season, it's clearly a difficult prep. But when the season is on the line against teams that have seen him before, the result doesn't seem to be the same. Now we get to the Super Bowl favorites. What's the reason why the San Francisco 49ers won't be crowned Super Bowl champions? Let's not beat around the bush. It comes down to Brock Purdy. His 9.6 yards per attempt is the best in a single season since 2018. But Brock Purdy was sitting on the sidelines as Sam Darnold was trying to lead a late-game comeback on Christmas night. That's not something a bona fide star is doing. Ever. San Francisco is 0-38 when trailing by 8 points or more heading into the fourth quarter under Kyle Shanahan. 3 of those losses are this season with Brock Purdy. That's one reason why every single team can't win Super Bowl 58. Let me know your Super Bowl predictions down below in the comments section. If you guys enjoyed today's video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we will see you on the next one.